Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it.
Good morning, family. Welcome to another fly edition of Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. We coming to you today. It is Thursday, and another week has blown by us. We got one more day. I call this pre-Friday, so I know you guys are looking forward to a great week. If you're anything like me, it was 72 degrees yesterday, and today is 33. So this is what we in. This is the weather we in. Yesterday I was had some shorts on. Today I got on a sweater and a turtleneck. So you tell me what's going on. But of course, we thank you guys for showing up. We thank you guys for coming in. Please let us know where you're tuning in from. Drop it in the comment section. Also, drop in your questions because we're talking about a heavy topic today with all of us working from home, and we're going to get right into it. But I want to bring my hostess with the mostest. Come on, Charlene, what's up?
What's going on? Hey, everybody.
Oh man, can't nobody hear your wave, man. Can't nobody hear your wave, man. What's going
Well,
on?
I'm waving,
What's
but
going
they
on?
can see it. They heard me when I say hey.
Okay, yeah. You had to catch it up. Had to catch it up. Thank y'all for coming by.
Yes,
Amazing
yes.
people. We were due and scheduled to have Alexis, Alex
Alexandria
Rosa, Alexandria
Rosa.
Rosa
Yes.
on today. The RN with the mostest, giving it up, talking about her spice and her business and everything. But unfortunately, she had a family emergency, so we want to make sure we send out our prayers to her
Yes,
and the
yes.
family. Make sure everything's good. We know that God got them, so we want to make sure
Talk
we took a
about it.
time out to do that for her and the family. And of course, we're not nosy people, so we're not delving into anything. Just sending our prayers, making sure it's all right. So no, I ain't do the
Staying in our
411. Yeah, I'm
lane.
staying in. I'm staying in my side of the street. You know what I mean? I ain't. So I told I send up the prayers, and God know what the situation is, so I don't need to know. So
Yes, you can
anyway,
give blessings without getting in people's business,
that's
child.
it, man. That's it. People don't understand it,
Ah,
and you like, well, what I'm praying for? Don't worry about it. If your prayers any
you
good,
just,
just
yes, you
pray them.
staying on a good note. Praying for the good foot. That's what you're praying
That's
for.
it. That's it. So we want to make sure that we send it out to her and her family, thinking about them
Yes,
today.
yes.
But look, we talk about health and wellness through healthier living, right? Yeah, and we know that out. And I mentioned earlier in the beginning, Charlene, I was talking about the remote workers, and I know this is really taking a toll on a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people. I know myself since I've been remote now going on 2 years. Like a brother that picked up about 20 pounds, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to figure out where to get this done. It ain't had to do, it had nothing to do with holidays either. It's
Yep.
just snacking, eating. But I did start off freshly today. I want to give a shout out to my man. So I went and got some pistachios. I'm eating healthy with pistachio nuts. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I got my hostess with the mostest gave me a face. What's up with this?
I ain't give you
What's up
no
with the
face.
pistachios?
I ain't give you
What's
no
up with the
face.
pistachios?
I ain't give you no face.
Yes, yes. That was that shameless plug from what's the name of this company? Oh, I don't even know. Wonderful pistachios. But anyway,
See,
how you been?
see.
What's up? What's going on with you? What's going
Well,
on in your world?
I've been good. I've been good. I have been getting things ready because I'm always tweaking in the back end for my
Mhm.
clients. So I was working for the last couple of days on improving some experiences, putting a lot of things that I talk about in practice for myself because
Gotcha.
it's one thing to put it in practice for your clients and help them through it, but you want to keep yourself moving and going so you can say, yeah, this still works. Nah, this don't work no more. And keep that pushing. But it's been a great couple of days. It's been a great week actually. So to know that it's coming up on that time, the weekend is
Yeah,
sliding in, and I stopped trying to live for the weekend. But let's just keep it real. A lot of times when you have so many obligations, a lot of us, the weekends is our free time. That's our playtime. That's when we can really sit down, we can chill and relax. I have my hot water this morning. I start my day off as much as possible drinking hot water first and just taking it easy, and then ease my way into my water routine. And I have my coffees every now and then, but I try not to drink it the first thing in the morning. Give my body that caffeine shock. Like what? And that's part of the health and wellness, trying to get a better routine for yourself. Try to see how can you show up better for yourself Been getting my vitamins. So I'm also trying to make sure that I start setting my doctor's appointments because I don't like doctors. Let's just keep it 100.
Whoa, whoa,
I don't
whoa.
like
We're not gonna
doctors.
go
I don't
into
like
that.
doctor.
We on
I
health
don't
and
like
wellness.
doctor offices. And it's not the people. I have an amazing general doctor. She's awesome. She's dope. But I just don't like the waiting. You gotta sit down, you gotta fill things out. I'm like, ugh, you know me. I've been here already.
Wow, wow.
So yeah, it's just I just don't like the logistics of it all. I get it, but I'm not coughing. I'm good.
Oh wow,
So I have to,
it's more than a cold,
man.
homie.
I know, and I know. You're supposed to get checked out. You got your routines, but I'm just the person like, if I could work it out, if I could sleep through it and wake up and I'm better, I'm good. I'm good.
Wow.
I'm good. I'm fine. So,
Okay. All right. Well,
so
with that, let
I'm
me put
trying to
out
do
this
better.
disclaimer so
Trying to do better.
we can be legally covered here. Some of the some of the thoughts and opinions of the Real Talk
I
Live
said it's
podcast.
about me. That's what
Yeah,
I'm doing. That's what I
yeah,
do.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know it's
Make
not
sure,
always good.
yeah, make sure we
It's
put that
not
out
the
there.
right thing, but
Yeah,
hey.
let me put that out. Let me put that disclaimer out there so we say legally bound and be able to stay on this platform, right?
Whatevs.
The
But
health.
I've cut out a lot of stuff that know I shouldn't be eating. I don't eat things on a regular. I don't eat burgers and all that stuff on a regular because I know that's not going to make me function properly. I pay attention to my body, so if it's something that I'm like, okay, I've never experienced this before. Let me see what's going on, then I'll go to the doctor. But it's never been anything major for me, so I try to limit as much as possible. So yes, what's
Yeah,
going
it's.
on?
I think that was the real thing, and I know we got some topics we're going to get into as well. But I think the real thing
Hmm.
that really gets I definitely with you. My morning is starting with water. Yes, I do love my coffee, and I'm gonna coffee. I like the taste, right? But I'm not a. Well, if I miss it, I'm good. So I'm not
Mhm.
that kind of like person. Like I can't do anything. I'm running people over in the line or whatever trying to get to a cup of coffee. It's not like that. I kind of do it as a warm up after my cold water. But when I get up in the morning after I took my shower, whatever, I'm drinking a bottle of water. So that's my initiative. And then most of the time, sometimes I do an apple juice or orange juice. I love what Shree put in the comments, oatmeal. I got to have my apples
Yes.
and cinnamon. And I do eat
Mhm.
that in the summer as well. A lot of people's like, oh, you eat oatmeal in the summer as winter food. No, it's really a filling food. It fills you up and then it stops you from all of that snacking. So me and the missus, we've
Yes.
gotten into this thing where we buying these snack packs, right? The bags. Well, we making the snack packs. We buying like the little bags of carrots, the bags of
Mhm.
celery, the little, I hate that.
True.
And I probably don't do that right because you're supposed to eat them like they eat them, but I put a little salt, pepper on mine, make it, us, we got to season everything.
I say make it taste good. Make it be fun for your belly, right? Because
Yeah,
that's how I get. I remember my mom, child. We used to have battles for vegetables, honey, when I was young.
yeah, I love vegetables.
And my mom would not me.
Oh yeah,
My
no, no,
mother would,
no, come on,
what? Are
man.
you crazy? I would eat around them. I would
Oh
put
wow.
tunnels between them so
Oh
I could get
wow.
to my food.
See, you get a beat. You would have got a beat
And
down in my house.
well, look here. At one point, my cousin, one of my cousins, she was living with us at the moment, and I'm young. I'm a Taurus, so I'm pig headed.
Oh
And
yeah, I could
look, I'm
tell.
stubborn. I'm
I could
stubborn. Like
tell. You gotta be
if I
kidding
make
me.
up my mind, I said no. I mean no. so
Oh,
so think of a Taurian daughter, a Sagittarius mom.
oh my God, y'all had a
So
house
my
full of hard
mom,
head people.
man. So my mom was like, "You're not getting off this table until you finish this vegetable,"
And you
and
like,
told my
I'll sit
cousin
here
to
all
look
night.
out for me. I said, "You know what? I guess I'm gonna sit here all day." And sure enough, I was falling asleep at the table.
Oh wow,
And my mom was just like, you know what?
I would leave you
Go to
there.
bed. Go to
No, I
bed.
would leave you
Go to
there.
bed.
Yeah, yeah, you had those opportunities like that.
Look.
We didn't have that. Dad was like, he refused to let my mom cook different, right?
Mm,
Because my mom, both of them come from southern backgrounds, so they both got a lot of brothers and sisters. So food, like if you really know about the southern culture, right? Food, they're from Mississippi, so food and gathering and family and eating That's kind of like the ritual kind of thing. And they love to
Mhm.
cook. Like I never forget the first time I went down there, and they was eating like fish and grits and all that for breakfast. And I'm like, can we do like a pancake, bacon, eggs, like all
Can
of
I get
this? Like
something American?
they got like fried chicken, fish and grits, shrimp, and I'm like,
Mhm.
wait, it's like seven something in the morning. Like
Yes,
who is
this is
this?
heavy.
So
This is
eating
heavy
is their
food.
thing, and I didn't like a lot of things growing up. I was a picky eater. I'm gonna tell you off the bat. I was only thing I liked was all greens. Now any
Mm.
spinach, collards, kales, all string beans. I loved all greens, right? Except broccoli. I don't know. It just tastes like I was eating grass.
Me too. I was like, what is this? Like, what are these things sticking up? I'm
And
like,
it don't
uh-uh.
matter how they seasoned it, how they buttered it, how they steamed it out. It just tastes like I was eating a cup of grass. I could never get with the broccoli. But my
Ain't never
dad would tell
lied.
us if we didn't want to eat, he said, go to bed hungry. He's like, go to bed hungry. So many nights as a kid with my stubbornness, so I went to bed hungry. But when I got up to school, we had that free breakfast. Oh my God, I got to school early. I eat about 10 bowls of cereal, about 10 bananas. I would be getting it in. But the food is just one part of this healthy is, and I think it's an essential part because a lot of people overtake that. They kind of like, everybody that I hear that I go out with, I talk to that, hey, eat portions, you eat portions, you eat portions. Like the defined portions, most of the time we don't follow those, right? They say like a scoop of
True.
this or like a tablespoon of that or whatever. Like, I didn't been so well. I see salt. I had to see salt on my food to know it's there, right? So doctor told me if you see salt, it's entirely too much. I say, well, I can't taste it if I don't see it.
Lord. And you should be cooking with the salt, not putting it after the
Yo,
fact. I'm
I don't
like,
cook
look
with
here.
none. You know what? I don't cook with any because when I'm cooking,
If you
yeah,
yes, that's true. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of times those are just meant for the breaking down in the process. It
okay,
shouldn't be something that you see and you go you putting in your body like that. Because a lot of times our bodies don't break down a lot of these things,
yeah, they don't.
and eating healthy is part of keeping your mind balanced. And I have to go back to a little bit of what you said, where growing up, I know for me, I grew up in a Caribbean household in the South, so
Oh,
I had to think back and say,
spices,
you know what,
sauces.
it was everything. So, like, to tell you I was eating dry, bland food, absolutely not. Never in my household. Like, hot pepper was on. Like, some people put regular salt and stuff. It was hot
Yeah.
pepper. Let's pull out the bottle of hot
Oh
pepper. We
wow.
ready? And and it was Caribbean hot pepper. So please miss us with
Oh
that other the southern hot pepper. Nah, some of that was we miss us with that. But
wow.
I just go to say I started thinking as I got older that, yeah, a lot of times you eat in breakfast and it's heavy food. So you got the saltfish. You'll have the Johnny cakes, which are, for us, they're the little fried bakes. Little, they look like little biscuits, I would say,
Okay.
right? But they're a little heavier.
Okay.
But we would have those, and those would be our breakfast. And I have to start thinking about, you know our families, they come from a tradition of, when they had to get heavy food in the morning, it's because they may not eat for a
Yeah.
while, or they might not eat till late in the afternoon, or not till dinner time. So they had to put something in their system that can hold them through. And it goes even into a lot of what you saw slaves were going through. If they were able to have that meal, it had to be something that could sustain you.
Yeah.
And because you were doing some heavy work, you were doing some real work. And I know my grandmother, she was the first woman who would be in the sugarcane field with the men. So she was doing that work.
She's putting
And
in that work.
by the what? And by the time she was done, she go to her she go out, and where the men are. So they go to the bars, they have they domino nights, and chill out,
Yo,
and
I
and
love
that's
domino
that's
nights,
them
man.
relaxing, right? That's them relaxing. So it's really
Absolutely.
about when we're eating, and when we're having these traditions, it's where are these coming from? So even as remote workers, I remember when I first started working remotely full time,
Hmm.
it was like, oh, okay, do I have a routine? Do I not have a routine anymore? Because before I had to get up at a certain time, which I already did, but like now I have to get moving. So 6 o'clock, 6:30, I need to be on the move. My body needs to be jolted into
It's
action.
action.
It's not like that, oh, get yourself comfortable. Cause that used to annoy me a lot because people would
What?
be like, you gotta wake up early in the morning, you gotta meditate. And I meditate. So I gotta get up, I got to get ready, I got to get
Come
on
on,
this
man.
train.
Come on, man.
And not, but it's real fact. Because
Yeah,
being in New York, I had to get on
it's a
this
lot.
train.
It's a lot
I'm
going
in
on.
Brooklyn where all the Caribbeans are up at 5.
Oh,
so
everybody out
so
there.
all of us on the
The
train
Mardi
at
Gras parade
6:30.
is going on or what?
What? It's crowded. To tell you crowded, there would be mornings where I would be on the platform by
Mm,
7:15. I got
wow.
to see 5 trains go by because it's so crowded. So
Wow.
like when I tell you my area, everybody's on the move.
Mm,
So to do that, and your body don't really, your mind too doesn't really get a break. You wake
no.
up and you're on the go. You're not like um kind of walking yourself in a soft moment
Mm,
into the day. You're not prepping yourself for those times where somebody get on your nerve. That's why I think a lot of times people get like so in the morning, because your mind is still trying to get into like a safe space too. And as soon as you get in, somebody else got a bad moment. They got a bad attitude. They just came out of their bad household or whatever that is. So they taking it out on everybody else in the pub. I'm like, not today, not today. So for me, I had to start getting into my audiobooks. I had to start listening to my music on the train, drown out all the drama. People
uh,
be screaming at each other. Yo, why you bumping into me? I was like, really? It's just a bump. Let's move past this. We got to go. Because and I always remember I would always say, please don't fight, because the last thing I want, and it's happened already, especially in the
uh,
snow, on the elevated platforms
ooh,
where the
somebody fall off
train,
that joint.
no, the trains would get annoyed because people are arguing, they fighting, they not letting the doors close. So what would the train conductors do?
Mm.
Empty out the train,
Oh, wow.
and then the train's gone. So now we got to wait for the next train, which you already know is crowded.
Oh, not
And
only
on
that, whoever that happened with, they got a whole platform of people about to get busy with them, ain't
tight.
it?
Tight. So that was my woosah time. Like,
Oh,
please,
wow.
Lord, I'm praying to the gods. I'm praying to
Because
everybody. Please don't let nobody fight. Please,
it's
let's
about
move
to get
past this.
down.
If they fight, please let me get to my destination so I
Oh,
can get
wow.
on
Let
the
me get to my
train.
exit. Oh,
I
wow,
just
wow,
need to
wow.
get to my spot. Okay. Okay. Thank
Such a
you.
person of grand humanity, right? Let me get
Look,
myself
it's
out the
just
way.
because I know me. Once I get riled up, it takes me a long time to cool down. It takes me a
Mm,
long time for my mind to get back into a safe space. So my day's messed up. And I had to learn real hard. It took me a long time to learn how to start to let things go. People say slick stuff all the time.
ah,
So I
man,
had to
don't
start letting
they?
that go, right? Especially when we got remote, because the first year pandemic hit, everybody was in their moments. And
Yeah.
baby, when I tell you the slick mouth, the keyboard gangsters were coming through. I say, look here, boo, you about to mess with the wrong one. I'm about to
Mm,
let this pension fly, and I'm about to handle you today. But I
wow.
couldn't. I couldn't do that. I had to really sit myself down and say, Charlene, go to your safe space and go talk to the people who can talk you down, or give you different perspectives, like
Go
give
sit
you
down.
that moment of clarity. Because I was ready to get busy on a text message and an email talking about, really okay.
Wow.
And I'm not the one to email you privately. I'll put everybody on there, so
Oh,
I want my
wow, wow,
boss and
wow, wow.
everybody to
Not the
know.
CC
I just
email. CC.
CC. No, I'm gonna put two, and I want everybody to know. I want you to see, as I reference the slick email they sent me below,
Oh,
that
wow.
this is my response. Thank
Oh,
you and have a
wow.
good night.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. See,
That's just how I
now
roll.
I don't
But yeah.
ever want to hear you tell me about shade again. Okay, I don't ever want to hear you because you got the palm trees from California with that one right
Amen.
there.
I told you I'm from Florida.
With that one right there, you got yeah the palm trees from Florida. Look, when we're talking about this this healthy living, what Charlene just took you guys through, all of y'all that are watching, she took you through her diatribe of just like what is unhealthy. Okay, want to make sure that we that we set the record straight.
And
We talk about
understanding
health
it.
and
You
wellness
you
through
freaking
healthier living.
recognize
She's
it.
telling you some of these detox moments that she had, but she had to clarify
Yes.
and get things done.
Hmm.
We want to make sure that there's a disclaimer there because I think she's buck wild on the show today. We want to make sure she. I think this is her day to show shade and to pull some people's plugs out. But anyway, but when we're talking about this health and wellness, there are a lot of kind of factors that goes into this, and we really chose the process of. And for those that are joining us right now, when in the beginning, we still send up prayers for Alex Rosa. She had a family emergency, so she's not on. So the show must go on. We real talk, but we're talking about health and wellness through healthy living, and we definitely know that we could talk about that because we narrowed it to the remote workers, and I think this pretty much touches on everybody. Even if you went back most a lot of people are, I guess, a good 80% or so, or either
Hmm.
remote or hybrid, some kind of package going on where you're in the office a few days, you're out. I mean, and it could be some of that are 100% in, because I do know a few people that they're back in and they're just spread out. They're not on
Mm.
top of each other in the cubicles like they were before. They're like every other cubicle to give some kind of distance in there. But when you're talking about that now with the remote learning, there's a lot of things that's going on being home and working from home. We did in the beginning, there was so much that we really couldn't adapt on the mental because we had work, then we had children who were schooling, homeschooling. Then if it was more than a two-parent household, a lot of times you had both parents home. And there was not a lot of places to go to get some of these things that we're going to talk about. To get those fulfilled for yourself, and it became a stressful thing with the gyms being closed. I live in the Northeast, and we were right outside New York, and when the pandemic hit, like a lot of Jerseyans travel back and forth to New York to work. So Jersey was a hot spot for a long period of time, and we had a
Mm.
lot of COVID deaths and a lot of things in. So they brought about the mental stress, they brought about the physical stress, and then a lot of people deals with their stress in eating. I have some cousins just like I know when they're stressing because I see them early in the year and they're looking good, whatever. And I see them a little bit later in the year and they like then gain 30, 40 pounds, their face is fat, because some people eat when they're stressful. So when they
Yeah.
stress out, some comfort, food becomes the comfort instead of necessarily talking about the issue or dealing with what they're really feeling. They just go and eat. And there's just different ways that we do. But we're going to talk about some things today that we call our healthier living tips. All right. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Go ahead, Charlene. Kick us off.
Some action things that you can do
Action.
to
Yes.
get your stuff together, get your mind right. And
Yes.
I would say the first one is making time for you. This was not easy for me because, like I said, I was as soon as I get up, I'm on the go. My mind is like, oh, let me log in. Let me make sure that I look at what's going on. Did anybody send
Mhm.
anything from the night before? And da 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 da. So before you know it, it's once again 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and you're still logged on. You're still connected. You're still trying to figure out, okay, what's going on. And a lot of times with me, I do like this mental gymnastic trying to figure out, are you going to do something tomorrow? Do you need something before the night's over? Like, should I wait? What? And I was like, you know what? You got to stop this. Like, you
Mhm.
are now in your home. It's going to be harder to separate things and separate your time. So you got to make time for you. Meditate. Find a way. If that's what your thing is. Some people, they don't meditate. It's like the process of meditation they don't do. But a lot of times, quiet time is a way to meditate too. For me, I meditate through having music time. So I sit down, I pick a playlist from one of the providers. I will not name them; they are not a sponsor. And and I will sit there and I will listen to some good beats. I'll listen to some music, or I'll listen to some instrumentals, whatever that is, whatever I know like will feed my soul. And not, a lot of times it's not something that's slow. It's just whatever will get my mind in a space to create, or a space to think, a space to just be relaxed enough that I'm not on level 10. And level 10 is not being anxious. It's just that you're always like pushing, 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 and you can't even think. Because I think sometimes that can display itself in where you see people send out emails too fast, and you're
Mhm.
and the recipient is looking at this like, what they talking about? Like, did they see what I asked them? And a lot of times, because we're not taking the time to just pause, read what's going on, take it in, just let it soak in a little bit. You don't Sometimes when people email you, don't
Mhm.
feel like you need to respond immediately. Just say, okay, you know what, let me take this in. Maybe I saw it, I didn't understand everything, but let me look at that for a second. Let me think about that, or I'll get back to that in like another hour or so.
Mhm.
Unless it's something an emergency, and most times it's not an emergency, like for real. Most of the time, communications that are sent to us are not emergencies. You can take your time to respond. So I always say, make time for you. Don't allow the external forces or even you take that away from yourself. Never do that.
Yeah, it's definitely important, and you go through these struggles to disconnect. And the funny thing about it, and I used to. There was points in times in my work before the pandemic came, that a couple of days or something we would have a project or whatever, and I didn't have to go into the office, or there was something that we had to do at home. So, and I didn't look at it as how we do now as a part of our life with the hybrid and that kind of thing. I just say, oh, I got a project and I could do that better at home. So I tell my boss, I'm gonna do this on here at home, and but it was a form of hybrid, but it really wasn't. But now we're at that capacity where we're thrown into this, and it is very uncomfortable, right?
Mhm.
Because it's not only with the pandemic, the health version of this going on. Now we got the stress version of this going on, and it's invaded everything. Like, and a lot of times us use our home life as a stress-free place versus the work. And then some people, home is chaotic, so work is a stress-free place. Even how oxymoronic that may sound to some people, doing other things alleviates them from being in places where there are stresses. But with the pandemic and what that caused, it kind of pushed everything to just the center of the table. So now you got to deal with everything on every front. And now you're face to face with all of these things that you spent so much of your time either working 80 hours a week and not dealing with home issues, or being at home to, hurry up to get home to be away from work issues. But now, not only that, you have the family issues and you have the dynamics of the children. Now they're in your face all day long. There's
Mm.
no respite of you sending them away to school for a few hours. There's
Yeah.
no activities. There's no, if they're involved in sports, a lot of that stuff had kind of like closed down. The opportunities for you to go out and do things with your family had closed down. So you're talking about from the health and wellness portion of that, it has really been a dynamic thing, and you got to disconnect. I think more so now with us working from home, we're actually doing more work related things now that we have the laptop or the home computers, all of those things near us. We're not really
Mhm.
being uh, conscious enough to say, okay, I'm gonna do this for a couple hours. I know I find myself doing that. It's like, oh, well, the laptop's right here. Let me do a little extra to call myself, give my space for tomorrow. But come to find out, when tomorrow come, I'm back with the same watch and repeat. I'm doing a little extra to do, and then I'm finding myself like during the course of the week, I'm like, why I ain't get that done? Because I made
Mhm.
space for it. But now I'm noticing that I'm working on work stuff maybe past 8 hours. Because if you was at
Yeah.
the job, you clocked out, you'd were home. But now it's
Come
at
on now.
home, you go back and like, well, let me get a little ahead of that, or let me finish that so I don't have it tomorrow. So that, see, we're not
Mhm.
making time for ourselves, and a lot of people have kind of like switched that around now, and they're doing a little meditation early in the morning, which I think is an opportune time. And you get up
Yeah.
out, you do your prayer, you do your morning routine, whatever your routine may consist of. I think you get the most of it as far as like woosah time, man. I love having that prayer and that moment time in the morning when I hear the birds chirping, and that solitude of just God's joyous creatures making their little noise and singing. Oh man, that gives me some refreshments. Cause then I know I get 10
Man.
o'clock on Tuesday, Thursday. I gotta be here with Charlene. So I need my meditation.
Really? Really?
I had to
But
sneak over there. I had to
I
sneak
know
over there.
you did. I know you did. Anyway, so but what I
Oh.
would say is just to add a little bit to that is um I found myself where I would like you said, we're clocked out at a certain time. We
Yeah.
literally turned off the laptop. We're not even there no more. We gone. We left. We physically removed ourselves from the laptop. But being remote, also it felt like uh our coworkers, our peers, our employers themselves, managers, at one point were putting pressure on us to stay on, almost like they're
Mm.
sending us things expecting us to respond right away. There was something where at one point my company allowed us to add teams to our phones, personal phones, mind you. You're not paying for this. So
And seems to my fault on me.
man, so I said, well, maybe, maybe so I could see emails. And then I don't know, maybe it was just the grace of the universe putting my whole thoughts in pause. Because as soon as I downloaded it,
Mhm.
I was getting ready to put in my account, my email and everything, and it, because of the system security, it said, hey, you're saying if you finish and move forward, you're allowing the company to now officially take control of your phone. I said, oh, pause.
Not,
We're
not.
not doing that. So that kind of saved me in a sense as well, because now I officially, once I closed that laptop and I look at the time and I said, I'm not gonna see 6:30, 7 o'clock and I'm still on here. That's not gonna happen because I'm already on here at least by 7:30 a.m. Eastern, because we're global. So we have other teams in other areas that may be getting ready to clock off, or they're asking us questions. So you have my morning, but you're not getting my night. I had to
Yeah.
start putting those type of things in place. And once I say I'm going on vacation, even if I'm staying in my house, I'm not logging on. So
Mhm.
another thing was I had to start reclaiming my weekends. I had to start making that my time. When I had people coming for meetings, even clients, I'm like, I see it, but I'll respond later. I'll respond when the week starts, because my weekend has to be for me to rejuvenate. I have other things that I need to be handling for me, just to take care of me. And rest is at the top of that list because I know how I can get. And mentally, as a creator, for me, I feel like it drains me a lot. If I'm always in constant movement, my mind is constantly going. Even when I try to sleep, I know my mind is running. My mind is going through all these things, and I try to do those little tips where you write things down to get it out your mind. But then I got like things written all over the place. I can't find it later. Like, nah,
Oh
I'm
wow.
good. so so I go through my own thing as I mentally have to work through a lot of the ideas that's already in my head. So to also have people bombarding me too, because it sounds bad, but when I say bombarding, but that's how it feels.
Yeah.
So I have to protect myself and make that as a my time. So I want to say let's get into the second one, is taking those physical breaks, because the
Mhm.
my time and taking time for you is almost like that mental space that you need, that mental break. But now the physical break, walking completely away from the desktop, the phone, the tablet, walking away from the phone calls. Because sometimes you have a lot of people who they do phone calls all day. So you got to walk away from that and give yourself that physical break. Take walks, even if it's around your apartment. People think it's funny, but you could actually walk around your apartment
Yeah.
and get a lot of exercise. Some people, they clean. That helps them relax. It don't help me relax, but that helps them relax. Exercise, even if it's a 10-minute exercise, 20-minute exercise, something, but you're giving your body that way to kind of expel energy. So you want to take those physical breaks as well. Don't never let that be something that you ignore. And I remembered in my corporate, they had like this little way that you can join these online exercise courses, and one of them was
Yeah.
dancing, and that was
Oh,
super fun.
yeah.
Because I had my peer tell me about it. I was like, "What?" And when I tell you, child, less than you 10 minutes in, and you sweating like you've been working out in a sauna.
Oh, wow.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, these some of those things, and those are things a lot of times in the beginning of us doing the work from home, we neglect it, and I can't find anyone, and it's a high percentage of us that when we got this opportunity to work from home, we definitely neglected all of those things, exercising, walking away from the computer, those kind of things. Because I can remember, and as much as I do, 100% of what I do is on the computer. My
Hmm.
business, my schooling, my job, and this platform here that I'm doing. Even at one point in time, church, because we weren't able to go into, so I would run Zooms with church and the congregation. So 100% of everything that I was doing in my life revolved around me sitting and looking at this screen. And if you guys haven't noticed, or you haven't for the past 2+ years I've been on, I wear glasses, right? And the culture of what it is with looking at these screens, I had not known how worsened my sight and vision had gotten, right? From the
Yeah.
course of using these computer like constantly. And I had a eye appointment maybe a week or so ago that I went, and I don't know where the time flies, but the lady had told me, and they said to me, say it's been 2 years since you had eye exam. I was like, 2 years? Oh my gosh, 2 years already? So I was like, oh yeah. I said, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. She's like, no, you need to come in and get it checked, because you have blood pressure and those kind of things going on. I said, okay, being old, you gotta listen to certain things. So I said, all right. So I went, and come to find out, my eyesight had degraded like over the course of those 2 years, and all this is from pandemic and being here and not walking away from the computer and not,
Mhm.
calling myself going to get things done, and not looking at the healthier side of doing this. Like she was like, "You're going to need a new prescription," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Because in the essence of you keep doing this," she's saying, "a few more years, your eyesight is going to be really worse." And I was like, I can't be no more worse, man, because I need my glasses to see. So I'm looking at her, I'm looking cross-eyed. But she's like, no, Carl, you're really gonna have to take this seriously. And she said you're gonna have to come away from the computers and do those things, and to get those walks or those exercises. And she said, turn everything off, because I have this mad habit of, if I ain't sitting there, what I mean, I check it. I got that. But anybody had that hot phone where you didn't check your phone about 1,000 times, and good if I will, it ain't beat, it ain't chirp, it ain't
Mhm.
ring, but you study in your
Yep.
pocket. So I kind of like had that with the iPad and the what's name. She told me, and she said, stop carrying the iPad around, because I sit in between um appointments, and I'll play a game on my iPad, or I'll watch somebody's live, or I'll entertain. She was
Yep.
like, those kind of things that you can physically your own self put regulations on, that will be an aid in your health and wellness, and that's a part of healthier living. When we think about healthier living, we're thinking about so much as the what are we taking in, maybe the medications, or healthier living is a holistic plan of like, what can I do. Somebody gonna get their 4 eyes checked, yeah, go get them checked. I'm
I'm
telling you, you'd be
telling you.
surprised how I was sitting there with my mouth open. I was like,
Yeah.
you got to be kidding me. I know my eyesight didn't go there, because I remember when you take it off and you do the little eye test, and I'm like, bro, last time I came, I could see that third line. Now I can't even see that, John. What's going on?
Mm-mm.
And
Mm-mm.
it's a real thing. So you have to take those
Yeah.
physical breaks. You have to push yourself away. I've even started taking a lunch. Charlene normally interrupts me when it's that time, but I had to
Keep throwing me
I
under
had to
this bus
take,
that you
I had
driving.
to
Keep throwing me
take
under this bus.
I had to tell her, I say, I gotta go
Uh,
eat, man. I gotta go eat, man. She give me a hard way to go, but I had to go eat. And so those are points of times where I close the computer down, and I just take that time for myself. It's not always an hour, but it's just a
mm,
reset of the eyes. Sometimes I take my glasses off and just sit that time without them on. Those kind of things that's really going to be aiding, and to give you a little bit of longevity, because we don't know how long we're going to be in this kind of situation. And with everybody leaving, and the Great Recession, and all of these resignation, all these kind of things, we're gonna have to use these instruments, so I call them, to get things done of what we need to do, from
Mhm.
everything to shopping to to groceries to calling Ubers to. I mean, we got to use this stuff, but we got to use it
Yeah.
wisely.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people try to do everything on their phone. Not me.
Hmm.
But not only is it tiny in the sense that it's small space. It's small. And a lot of times I know the eye straining your eye gives you
Hmm.
headaches. It just allows you to just not focus properly. So I try to get as big a screen as possible, not because I need all the text huge, but it gives my eyes a break. And I'm
Hmm.
not always on my phone, because once you get on that phone, you in apps, you all over the place.
Yeah.
So it limits me on that, and it allows me to be not so dependent on the phone. There's times my phone stay on silent. So when I tell you I miss calls all the time, yeah, because I'm not looking at it. I'm not looking for the phone. A lot of times I get notifications, and then I'll check, and I try to give myself times, even on corporate. I give myself time slots to go and check messages, because I remember when I first started a couple of, not even a couple of years in, it was maybe 2 years in when I first started my corporate job. It was like they had courses on this. And they were saying, look, if you get emails all the time, you can get over inundated with this type of stuff. Take breaks. Go and look at your email every 3 hours and
Mhm.
see who needs you, what needs to get done, what responses do you need, and then don't look at it again. That's what you do. Scan through the subject headings. What's important, what's not important, what can wait. Those, and then that's how I started learning how to use my email better.
Mhm.
And it took away that anxiety, because 2020 put me back into an anxious space. And when we have some great responses from others who are feeling the same way, where um Shannon was saying, like, her company
Yeah.
had, her old job had them put an app on her phone for
Mm.
alerts. I'm sorry, for me, the last time I checked, I'm not a first responder, so I don't need nobody giving me no alerts, get my anxiety up. And that's what was going on. People were sending emails like they didn't have no sense, and I say it to mean that it was an emergency for them. And I had to go back to a saying that told me that if you don't prepare and you are waiting till the last minute to
Mhm.
get me involved, and now you trying to make it my emergency,
Yeah.
your emergency does not automatically become my emergency.
Mhm.
And that saves me a lot of headache and hassle. That saves me so much headache and hassle, because I do everything I can. If I'm working with somebody else, if I need somebody else to come in, I go through and say, you know what, this is not their emergency. I
Mm.
waited too long to reach out, or I waited too long to try to find this out. So now that I'm asking for help, I need to be patient.
Yeah, and you got to give yourself that space, and that's just a respect factor as well. When you look at that, it's the respect and the boundaries that you set, that you let other people know they can't cross. And a lot of times, especially when it comes to jobs, we kind of feel obligated to let them have the better part. And
Mhm.
I've never been of that mindset, because I've always said, even in my own mind, and knowing that being a man, first and foremost, you need to take care of your responsibilities. But second to that, that has always been second to me, because first I'm a man first. So you're going to treat me as such, you're going to respect me as such, and we're going to carry on this relationship as such. So thereby,
Mhm.
if I come and I've signed your handbook and I've said I'm going to do the things that's responsible for me doing this job, your responsibility as a corporation is that my well-being, in the essence of doing your job, is going to be your top priority.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I would bring that to the forefront of whoever I was having discussions with, because you're not going to tag me, follow me, and be all behind me and pushing me to different things, because you have fallen short in the areas, or those that you're working with have fallen short. Saying, because I would put that on blast a lot of times. And yes, I was not a well liked coworker, and I don't mean that in the sense of that I put that I was starting a lot of foolishness. I mean that in the sense of even going into this next point that we're making. I had to lots of say no. Now I'm not doing that. I'm not obligated to do that. So sometimes that has to be reinforced because people will push the envelope. People will push the needle, and out of I necessarily say it's disrespect, and I say that from a strong point of saying people know what they're doing, right? I give people the opportunity to make mistakes. That's fine. But most of the time, when you get on these positions and you get in these cultures and you know the culture of the place that you're working at, people know what they're doing. It's something that's around the office that everybody knows, and then more than likely, most people know who the individual is that's doing it, but they're letting it continue and they don't say anything about it. So I'll be quick to say no. And it's like, yo, she went on lunch. She knows that we supposed to cover the phone. Lunch is 12 to 2. She's on lunch at 11 to 12. It's phone time. I'm not making her calls. I'm not getting her calls. And I'm not watching her work. So, oh, Carl, you kind of hard. No, because if I start doing that with her, then tomorrow you'll be like, okay, Carl's going to sit there and he's going to answer the phone. And then
Fact.
you're going to go to lunch and she's going to join you. And then I'm going to sit there looking stupid. I don't think so. I
And
don't
and
think
I and I and I want to say, I think that kind of brings into this question that Carla Lupa had for us. Do we think that do we think for remote workers, many have created a different set of expectations? Clients and employers, you're always on. And that's true. You're
Mhm.
always expected to perform. And I'm going to say like a trained seal, right?
Oh, wow.
Because, yeah, because they just feeling like you home. Especially when we were all on lockdown. You home?
You
Where
ain't
you
doing that no
going?
way.
I'm like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. What I'm about to do is turn off this laptop real quick because it's stressful. It's super stressful to have someone assume that you don't have nothing else to do. And like you said, if it's coming from your team, a lot of times people abuse that term. We're a team. We work together. No, 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 no. A team, yes, I can jump in for you, but that doesn't mean now you get to abuse this whole team relationship, and
Mhm.
your time matters more than mine. So now you on vacation at these weird times. We on a pandemic. Why are you on break for 2 straight weeks? Like you, and it's your normal breaks. What's going on? Like you not even asking, hey, I know it's in the middle of this time. Is it really crazy? How can we work this out? I need 2 weeks or I need a week. Can we break up the week or something? It's like, the care for each other was gone. The care was straight gone. And it was just this expectation of, you can do my work with me. I'm like, nah. Like, what are you saying? I'm stressed. And not everybody carries stress the same way, so we got to be mindful of that. Your peer, your clients, the person who's working with you, your consultant, whatever that looks like for you, may not seem stressed out, but you still got to keep in mind, like, maybe let me just be a little cautious of that while I get ready to bring stuff to them. You never want to assume that everybody's always there to do for you and you not doing for them. You never
Yeah.
want to do that because it starts to become a place of abuse. Like you just don't care anymore. You think that they can handle it. I'm out. That's not fair. And it's more so, especially because we're home, especially because we're remote. That doesn't mean it's okay to just drop your work on somebody else's lap.
Yeah, and it becomes that people do take advantage, and full disclosure, my wife works with this lady, and this lady is like she's always the lady works from home, and the lady's always like it's only them two doing this specific task within the mortgage thing, right? So when she doesn't do it, by them being them two are the department, it falls on my wife. So a lot of times I call her or check in or whatever, and she's like, yeah, the disgusted nature. She's on like a 10, and I'm like, well, what's wrong? And she said, so and so is as she knows it's just me and her. She's haven't come back from lunch, haven't logged back in. those kind of things, and that's blatant disrespect, and it's one of those things where uh it occurs more times than we like to discuss, especially with our coworkers and the respect that they have for us. But it's also coming with that, what the question was in the essence of that. Now that expectation is such that you work at home, and I had somebody tell me that before. I had a potential client tell me that before, and I hung the phone up. And like I did, and I just want you to know. So if those are watching have any inclinations, not that I won't work with anybody, I work with anybody. But first and foremost, you're not going to tell me what I don't do. Uh,
Mm.
he told me, I told him, I said, we got to talking and just discussing some things, and he was like, "Oh, so you work from home, so you got plenty of time." I said, "Pardon me?" He said, "Yeah." He's like, I have to go into the office and whatever. Then I have to make time to." I said, "Just check my website out. Did you see my services?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, but you say you work from home. So like working from home is different from this is one who never worked from home. He's in the office kind of like, services guy. So he always was able to be in the office." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "No, I do a lot, man." I say I do a lot. I say I do work. I say I do business, which is my work. I say I go to school, which is that. And I say I do other things. I say, so I'm on the computer all the time. So you have no idea about, I'm at home. What am I doing? So he's like, oh man, he's like, a lot of people be at home and they try to make it sound like that. I say, you know what? You have really just gave me a qualifier. I said, me dealing
Wow.
with you is not going to work. So instead of me going through these questions that I have for you, looking for a coach, I'm already knowing that I'm not your coach. So, but let's part ways, and I appreciate you. And no, I have nobody to refer you to. Sorry. And I hung up the phone. Right. And I was just like that because that was learning to say no, because you want to
Hmm.
be in a place where even if you're an entrepreneur, we've taken on these jobs first and foremost to make impact because we're tired of where we came from. Majority of us are tired of where we came from, the culture we was in. So we want to do what we know how to do, what we love to do to make impact. And we want to be able to call our own shots, and what that encompasses us working with the freedom of not necessarily reporting to someone that we got tired of doing it to. And there's a level of respect there as well, that now we are our own bosses. So we know what we feel like. So we want to have that kind of culture in our things, and being able to say no, setting those boundaries, having that ground space for yourself. We incorporate that. And yes, if you look at it as dollars and cents, to me, I didn't look at that as me losing that guy as a client. I looked at that as me not gaining a headache. So I weighed the options, and he was not part of the scale. And these are some of the things that you have to do when you learn to say no. Some of those things, there are going to be losses in there. Going to be some that don't agree, but there's definitely going to be more so on your health and wellness. They're saying no will definitely extend your healthier living, and you don't get caught up in a lot of these things. And jobs, they have to understand that as well. When we get the power, which we've really gotten with this resignation thing that's going on and how things have been, employees have got the greatest power that we've ever had over corporate structure since it's been in dating. So now there's an opportunity for us to be smart about it, highlight the things that has been going wrong for so many years, and
Hmm.
use that as a negotiating tool, not a ploy, but an actual tool to get the things and the culture and the things that we're trying to get. So you set the bar in that, you get that understanding off the bat, and don't settle for less. You know.
Yeah, and I love this comment that, if you're assuming that most people are decent, they're gonna work more than likely more hard. They're gonna work harder from home
Hmm.
in fear of, maybe a lot of times they feel like their boss thinks they're not doing anything,
Yeah.
and they're not working hard enough. So they're gonna try to exceed those expectations.
Hmm.
But I also have something to add to that too.
No, I like
A
that
lot of
latter
times.
part. Read that latter part. I like that latter part
Oh,
of that, because
that
that is definitely an assumption, and I always bring it out to this is my
yes.
this is my rant part of real talk. That's a definitely assumption, because you have those people that sit there, and it's already been tested and approved that 95% of the people that go to work for 8 hours do not work. They work about three and a half, so they killing you at the job anyway, but they're just there.
Mhm.
So stop being on these
Exactly.
people that work from home. Okay, that's what.
And and it's also you have to also take into consideration that because you're working from home, you're trying to get a jump on the day. So
Yeah.
you tend to just always constantly just be in front of the laptop. And it may not be like, yeah, you work in the full 8 hours, but
Hmm.
you're always available. You're always looking. Just like how you said, you're always checking your phone. You're always checking. So imagine you home working and every little ding that comes off that work
You
computer, you
checking it.
there. Like, what's
Hmm.
happening? What's going on? Who needs me? Nah. And I I couldn't do it. And that's something else I had to mute was the work laptop because it was ding and ding and ding because they put us on Teams. So
Oh
every
wow.
group that you in, somebody chatting, somebody sending you 16 gifts. Now I got to get the ding every 2 seconds. I'm like, absolutely not. We not what we're not doing is this. And I find it that's like another way to be intrusive in someone's
Yeah.
life and mind because mentally you're always like, shoot, what is that saying? What's going on? And when I
Hmm.
get these messages from teams, it's like, oh, someone's looking for you, looking for me. And I'm like, I don't even know this person. So when I go to see what it is, it's not that they looking for me. They just made a comment in a group that I'm in, but they're just saying something random or they're asking a question, but they're not looking specifically for me. So I have a huge problem with that message that team sends and that little notification that they email people, because that's like another anxiety trigger. Like, stop it. They're not looking for me in particular. They said something. They mentioned something. Why don't you rephrase that and figure out your life, Microsoft?
Oh wow.
But
Wow.
but that's just where I had to go with that one because that is such an anxiety trigger for me. And I'm just like, absolutely not. I'm not, I don't even look at it anymore because I know what it is. And I don't got time for it. Um, but yeah, it's just we have these tools, we have these apps that intrude in our lives. So we have to
Hmm.
start learning what to do. And just to do a quick rundown as we wrap up is one, to help you do better at working remote, start making time for yourself. If you
Yeah.
can't get it in the beginning of the day, find time middle of the day, the end of the day. If as soon as you log off, you don't go anywhere else, you just sit in
Sit
silence
that.
and you just make that your time, your me time. Maybe you found a book, you're going to read 2 pages out that book. That's your me time.
Hmm.
You choose how you want to spend it. That's why it's called your me time. You make the decisions. You're not on anybody's calendar. You're not doing nothing else that anybody else asks you to do because it's your time. And then the second thing, take some physical breaks. Walk around, get out, get a dog, have them take you out. That's what I say. You're not walking the dog. The dog about to walk you because the dog's like, you clearly need to get out of here. So
Got
let's
to.
go. You
Mhm.
know, play with the kitten, do something. Go get a garden, do
Oh wow.
something else. No, but seriously,
Yeah. Go
do
vegetables or
something else
something.
to have that physical break time, that time away from all the tech, that time away from somebody else making demands on you.
Hmm.
Take that physical break. And then also learn to say no.
No.
Learn to know that that is a full complete sentence. You don't need an explanation behind it. You don't need a prefix behind it. Just
No.
no.
It's already an
No.
adjective. It's a verb.
Right.
It's an action. It's a preposition. No by itself is a complete sentence. It needs nobody with it.
Yes.
No other
And
word.
folks will test you. They be like, "But why?" No.
Yeah. Yeah.
They going to pretend like they 5 and they got to ask you questions
But
5
you can
times.
always
Why?
put you can
Why?
always go like to
Why?
my mama's because my mama
No.
say because I told you because I said so.
Cuz I
You
said
can
no.
because I said no.
Cuz and then the other one, cuz I don't want to.
Yeah, you grown now.
No.
Because your
I'm
mom used to say
grown.
because I said so. You kind of like keep that why going, but now you grown and be like because I don't want to. Now you got that
Yes.
you got that grand opportunity to that, and don't take that on. A lot of us take that on like we take on this kind of like no remorse, like this.
Mhm.
Like if I say no, I'm remorseful because I'm not granting someone's wish or granting someone's thing to do. You say no,
Yes.
that's empowerment, and no, that's also building respect. That's also setting boundaries. That's also empowering you. So if you say it
Yes.
a few times, you stand on it a few times, you'll see how different you are and you'll see
Hmm.
what you let be walked on and what you let be walked over. And saying
Yes,
no is the beginning of that healthier living.
because I don't recall my mom telling me that my middle name was Jeannie, so I don't have
Wow.
to grant nobody's wishes. No one's wishes. And
No.
you have to sit in that power. You do not
Hmm.
owe anybody your time
Absolutely.
at all. Period. Point
None.
blank.
Nada.
And I love what Shannon said. Sometimes it's very intrusive to make people turn their cameras on for a work meeting or Zoom, whatever that is. If it depends on what this is. Sometimes you have these group meetings and
Mhm.
they're weekly, and you just don't feel like being on a camera. And some companies are like, "Well, we got to see you.
That
Why? You want
that
to
that
prove that where I
that
am? Like what
that,
you're saying."
that.
That means you have no trust. And a lot of times, because Carl, you and I talked about this,
Yeah, but
a lot of
I
times
gotta
these
go with the
companies,
core. I gotta go with the corporate and the legal
nah,
ramifications
nah.
of the
There's
policies and the
sometimes there's
handbooks.
no there's sometimes where you just don't feel like being on camera. You just don't. But that doesn't mean you're not here
Right? That
fully
doesn't mean that you're
listening.
not. That doesn't mean
So
that
you
you're not
gotta
here.
so I think that a little give gotta give on that, because
Yes.
you have people who will just demand all of you. And I say no. That
Mhm.
I have the opportunity to tell you no.
Oh, say
I'm not
no.
gonna be on camera today.
Oh, say no.
Today's not a camera day.
Oh, say
I just
no.
don't feel like it.
Oh,
So
okay. We just gonna
right?
get like that. We just gonna be
Okay.
like that. Okay. We
That's
just.
where the mental health come in. That's where the mental health
Oh
comes
man.
in. And we
We don't
already
get
talked
nobody
about this.
fired. We don't get nobody fired. Okay. We
Right.
don't get
But
nobody
you guys know exactly what we're saying. You have to do
fired.
what's best for you mentally and physically, because you don't
Yes,
want to
Carla.
keep always breaking down for
Yeah.
that. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And I wanted to also make sure that we told you guys not to forget about us being on tomorrow for our final take of strategy, site strategy moments, where we come at you. This is our fourth show, and we're going to come at you tomorrow with some great tips on how to tell your story, how to really get
Yes.
into being your full self on your website. You call the shots. You get to say how you're going to come through, and you get to do that tomorrow live with us. And make sure that you are there in full everything, just ready to come through, just ready to
Mhm.
come through. And make sure that you're prepared, because what this is doing, this is actually allowing us to get you ready for March. Because
Yes.
as soon as March comes, we transitioning into understanding vulnerability moments, and how that 4-part series is going to allow you to change the narrative of what vulnerability means, and unveiling the power of embracing all of that, every essence of that. So we cannot wait till March. But first, we got to finish off tomorrow, finish strong, and help you learn how to tell your story, how to really be there for you, and then allow others to get to know you. So please make sure that
Absolutely.
you tune in tomorrow. It's going to be 9 a.m. Eastern. We are all here for that, and we want to thank those who have been part of that journey. It was, like I said, it was an impromptu thought. We said, let's just do it, let's see how it is, and you guys really, really came through and embraced that. So we want
Yeah.
to thank you all for that. And definitely, we cannot wait for you guys to join us for the next Real Talk next week, Tuesday. We're gonna have another amazing conversation.
Yes.
Guest, no guests, we just gonna make it happen,
It's real talk.
because that's what we do. That's what we
Yeah.
do. So thank
Yes.
y'all, and don't forget, one more time. You've been seeing it all day, all morning through this show, but
Yeah.
we want to also tell you, hit us up, become part of the YouTube family. Go to
Absolutely.
realtalklivepodcast.com/YouTube. Subscribe, join in, and we got some things popping off. And also for the LinkedIn family, we've got something coming for you too. So don't worry, don't hesitate.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Absolutely.
all for coming through, and we can't wait to see you next week.
See you next week, guys. Have a great weekend.
Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it. get it.